Hey yo, back at you again with another one. This is Rashid Nori with King's Court, where queens are raised and kings are born. Today, fellas, I wanted to touch on something in reference to 5 things that are reasons why relationships either are failed or failing. Most of them are our issues. But they're incurred by the actions of the woman you choose. So if you or the woman is paying more attention to your phone than the time you spent with your partner, for surely she's either stepped out already or is planning to. As with us, mostly it's because we just get tired of every little conversation turning out to be argumentation. Now that's a grave issue with the large majority of sisters today. Argumentation over frivolous things because something that was said wasn't said the way you want it to be said. That's a little crazy. But in that, we have our own reasons, our own discord and self-awareness most times. Whereas though we forget the sheer facts of why we were in the relationship in the first place. Mostly is because with us, we enjoyed your time and the sex was good. With you ladies, it's more or less because we were challenging. When we stopped being challenging to you, you lost your attention span for us. That's a little wicked because it is noted that a man has to build himself up so much so that a woman will desire him, that women will desire him. And this is something that a woman looks for from to have stature. And in that, a lot of times comes many women seeking his attention. So you knowing this, you go after this man. And then when you get his attention, he attains you. So most times, he won't stop his actions before you. Granted, unless you bring something to the table. And we're not talking about the box. We're not talking about just being pretty. Because that don't get it. It gets you as far as the first time that we ever had laid eyes on you with attraction or had sexual encounter with you. After that, it's for you to retain us consistently. So, on that note, ladies, you have to start being able to make the transition from entitlement to being a woman who understands you need to keep our attention. See, it's easy to be beautiful and get the attraction that you want, the attention that you desire, even though you act like you don't. But you want and crave for the attention, being validated. But when we give you that attention and validate you in our actions by looking at you, by forwarding ourselves in activities with you, you then begin to feel you got us. I got this nigga. Well, in actual fact, dear heart, you're getting yourself. See, because We will give you the attention you want and desire in order to get your attention on us. So in doing so, a lot of times we find ourselves in a comfort zone. Yeah, I'm bang that. So we both working on two different avenues at all costs, at all times. Because women are, y'all think totally different from us. But on pretty much the same aspect, just different ways and means. So in the beginning of it all, your attention is towards one another for various reasons to gain whatever perspective that you have in reference to that matter or that person. So at the end of it all, when you start to lose that desire, that ambitious desire to strive for that person's attention continuously, the consistency starts to fall off. Well, 9 times out of 10, it's because the flavor has gotten sour. See, we like variety, speaking for men. You guys want singularity. You guys want one individual who will keep you on your toes. Well, granted, we have the need to be respected first and foremost. Secondly, we have the need for peace. So in that respect, let's start with that. In that respect, we ask only minute things. Not ever being disrespectful by flirting when you're not with us. Not going out and wearing booty shorts and things of that sort when you're not with us. I mean, because we can't be your protectors. We can't stop an ignorant fool from approaching you with some arrogant or some controlling matters. Because you know, as you know, that some of us work on the lower kind of desires rather than the intellect. So therefore, if you're going out with some booty shorts on or a mini skirt, or for that much, something tight showing off all your anatomy, it's not for them. It was for me. So keep it that way. See, us men, we want and desire for you to always have the desire to please us. That in itself is that respect. And then there's the latter, having peace. Having peace. Being able to come home to a nice, adjoining, peaceful atmosphere. Incense blaring. If he smokes, his blunt rolled, sitting there waiting for him. Nice, cool, chilled beer or some glass of wine. And food and ready. For most of us men who like to cook, like myself, and we'll come in and be like, oh, wow, she did all this for me. Let me help out in the kitchen. Let me help her cook. Or, in fact, just tell her, hey, babe, you ain't got to clean up afterwards. I got everything. Which, you should do anyway. Because all labor is a man's job. But in the midst of all that, we have number 2. Loudly speaking on your while complaining and silently rebelling. See, in this, one has the notion that an argumentation is always going to keep him there. Because, once a man gets emotional with a woman, shortly after it's going to be him loving her and falling and all the other stuff that falls behind it. Well, that's not necessarily the case, ladies. Most times the case may be that he just doesn't want to be alone. He doesn't want to continue striving to find someone else. Or he's just not for a whole bunch of the dating factor any longer. So he may stick and stay for a little while until he's just fed up. But you got to realize that even in this whimsical time of that man being with you, he will not tolerate your rebellion. If he tells you something that is disliked or distasteful to him, and you ignore it and do what you want to do anyway, that's a sign usually for a man that you don't want to be there, that you don't want to be in his life, that you don't want his attention. Come on, Reds. Go ahead. And with that being, most times, he's starting his way out the door. Yeah. I mean, y'all know. Most times y'all already know something ain't right. But you think the worst of things instead of thinking, okay, well, maybe it's something I did. And engage in conversation about it. Instead, y'all go in your head, the wondrous world of wizards and Wonderland and all this other foolishness that's been imprinted in your mind since you was children. And you overthink everything. And in turn of doing so, you lose that man. Because now you have gathered into something, you have put in place something that has nothing to do with anything at all in that situation. And it's sad because now you've confused yourself in believing something that had nothing to do with anything. And this is the stuff we have to deal with. We have to, on a day-to-day basis, try to discern how should I come at her about a situation. Because y'all never take anything lightly. You always take it to the extremes. It's never just going to be a civil conversation. It's always going to be argumentation. A grave debate. A competition, in fact. And it shouldn't be. One shouldn't have to sit there in the midst of trying to explain something to you, begin to find themselves getting loud because you're rebelling. You don't want to hear it. Who's the leader? I mean, just ask yourself, who is supposed to be the leader in the relationship? So if you're not going to follow that man whom you put in position to lead you, then what is the point in even going to a relationship? Period. Now, this is any way, shape, or form, any relationship, whether it be gay or heterosexual. If you're not there to be adherent to the one whom is made to be the leader of your relationship, then why are you even there? Nobody has time to be wasting with you crazy women who don't really know what you want. And y'all got the nerve to call a man narcissist when he start to point out some of the foolishness that y'all do. And it's crazy. Or when he try to get control of the facts of you going into your own devices and you start acting strange and wicked. How else are we supposed to manifest a clear understanding so that we can become better in our relations? If you're not listening to one party or the other, somebody's got to be heard. And for the most part, ladies, y'all are working on y'all working on some real serious stuff. I mean, it's hard to communicate with somebody whose mind just is not focused on what has been said. Because y'all have a tendency to focus on everything except for what's being said. Y'all will run with one word out of a whole statement and make it all about something else. Ain't got nothing to do with the conversation at hand. And that's kind of strange and wicked, man. How come you can't sit there but all right, I'm going to give this example. In the office building or when you work at, you giving orders, you giving directions, or you giving some understanding of what is needed from you in the workplace. You don't lose mind of that. You stay on cue when it comes to that. But when it comes to the man who's supposed to be leading you, you will fly off the handle. You will lose all self-control and all cognizance goes out the window. Conversation is shot. You triggered now. You're not wanting to communicate properly. Everything is an argument. Everything is like not what you said, but how you said it stuff. And this is crazy. It ain't even got to be what we say. It's just if we even like smirk in the middle of saying something. Oh, you think this funny? Sometimes it is, because it's simple stuff that you're just not grasping. Okay, moving on to number 3. The third reason why relationships either failing or fail. You love to be heard, but never care to listen. That one right there is serious. Number 3 is dire in relations to one another. Because, ladies, y'all the worst listeners on the face of the earth today. I'm not saying all. I'm not including all, but the large majority of women today, man, y'all are hard to talk to. Y'all don't listen to full statements. Y'all don't listen to the full. Listen, it could be just one word that depicts the whole of a statement. See, because we men don't like to be misunderstood, so we'll drag on an explanation of something because we know you're not going to get it if we just say a sentence. Because you're going to depict something out that sentence and you're going to run with it to another place and ain't got no place to be. So we can explain some stuff to the point of getting frustrated. Because now you're saying, oh, here we go again. Here's this nigga with this shit. But you're not listening. Listen. You choose us to be in a position to lead you, to guide you, to give you understanding, to give you some undivided attention, right? So why won't you take from us? Try to understand us. Live within the reality that we have clarity on. Why? Why is that so hard? So you cannot say you love somebody, but you have nothing but the most ignorant faith in them. And I say ignorant faith because you don't believe jack that he says. You don't follow jack that he asks you to go upon or act on. You don't believe anything that he tells you. Why? If he has not given you unfathomable reasoning to feel that way, why go there? Why? Why do y'all do that? I don't get it. It's really a mystery. It's really a mystery. Listen, if a man can get your loins, if he can get your desires, why can't he get your heart and your mind to go with that? I mean, I understand y'all whimsical, y'all deal with stuff right off the break. It's the first feeling, that first laughter, it's that first view. But in the long run, I mean, you didn't think that man had sense enough to be able to rationalize some things to you, to maybe give you some knowledge of some things you didn't understand, to be able to possess some wisdom that give you some enlightenment to the things you may not see. I mean, if we really, really, really think about it, relationships are very easy. They are. It's simple. It's simple. Y'all make it so difficult. Y'all make it complicated. The simplicity of it all is just being able to listen. Pay attention to me. I mean, in doing so, watching my actions, watching my growth, watching and listening to my speech, you can begin to grow from that in the relationship. I said that to say this. When you have sex with a man, do you not begin to learn the things that he like and dislike? When you interact with a man outside, engaging in whatever the case may be, do you not recognize the things he do and won't do? When you're just in the conversation, do you pay attention to how he present things or how he be quiet? I mean, there's a big difference. Listen, we like to communicate with you guys. We love to interact with you. But whenever a man decides that he can't interact with you, there's something wrong with you. Trust me on that one. Gravely, it's something wrong with you. Listen, we love to teach. We love to interact with our significant other. We love to be able to make love to our significant other in ways no one else will. So, with them, just be an intent. Be attentive. Be attentive. Pay attention. Want and desire to learn from me or from us. Your man is your man for a reason. You chose him for a reason. I mean, unless you just chose him for sex and money, which is sadly sometimes the case. Sex and money, that's all you choose. All right, number 4, you take your private issues to social media. Why in the world do y'all find it so easy to talk to social media rather than talking to your significant other, rather than talking to your man? I mean, like, social media is definitely not kind. You already know that. I'm sure you have to block people all the time. So why go to social media with your private issues? That's like the simplest thing I ever heard in my life. You take it to social media with people who got their own problems and issues that they're trying to get out and get some understanding on. Now I can understand if you're taking your private issues like things with yourself. You're recognizing you have a shortcoming and you take that to social media to get some understanding as to how to better deal with yourself. But when you're taking your personal relationship stuff to social media just to get some help, you have gone up the wrong tree. Literally, it's no way possible. Listen, hungry men on there are not going to give you good advisement. Jealous women on there or heart-beating women on there are not going to give you good advisement. They're going to give you the best of what they're dealing with themselves. They're going to give you the best of what they're dealing with themselves. So stop. Meet up with your man. Y'all have a nice long conversation. A conversation, not an argumentation. Not trying to compete and win the argument and things of this sort. No. Peaceful, loving, caring debate. Because it's going to be a debated factor. You're going to give your point. He's going to give his point. But you have to be willing to listen. And then, if you have something that you want to say in reference to the matter, then speak your piece after. Vice versa, man. We got to give them a chance to speak. But ladies, you got to stay on cue. You got to stop running with it. Like you, like I said, you'll take one word and just lose your mind. Stay with the situation at hand. You can't get anything solved if you jumble in this place and that place and on this thing and that thing, trying to get. Because y'all have an insatiable habit of holding in all the stuff that has been bothering you. It shouldn't be not one moment or not one night that you go to bed with something on your chest. Share alike. Communication is the greatest key. Don't forget, in the beginning of the relationship, you was establishing a friendship. Open air relations. Keep that. Because if you let that go, trust me, you ain't got nothing else. It's the foundation. It's the standing pillars of your relationship. They are the pillars of your relationship. Open air communication, listening well, making any adjustments, and last but not least, being able to tell yourself, yeah, I was wrong. It's not hard to be able to admit you're wrong. It's not a crime to admit you're wrong. In fact, it's enlightening. It's so uplifting, man. It make you feel 100 pounds lighter. Trust me on that one. I've been telling the truth all my life, and I feel so good every day. I don't care if somebody don't like what I say. The fact of the matter is, I gotta say what is true. I don't have no homeboys today because I was always that person who would tell the truth. I mean, I got a couple friends left. I love them dearly. They have their own families, and I gotta respect that. But yet and still, man, you gotta be willing to communicate. That's the key. There's nothing without it. It brought you together. Keep it so that it continues to keep you together. You know, it's one thing that I used to always try to keep in mind when I was going through my Christian phase. And one thing is, shame the devil and speak the truth. So I this is what I was raised on. So my mother always told me, yeah, boy, tell the truth. What is it? And I tell the truth. My mother was always my best guide by the graces and mercy of Allah. But we got to remember, man, got to remember the important factors that brought you together and work within that. Stop trying to build stuff that ain't got no place. All right, so the last and the fifth reason why we fail or fail in failing relationships, you expect to be easily forgiven when you have done something wrong, when you have made a grave mistake, when you have set in your mind that you're going to do what you want to do, and then you have to pay for it because you get caught in doing what you want to do. You have to always keep in mind, be forever forgiving of yourself. It's the only way you'll be able to express what is true. See, if you can't forgive yourself, nobody else will ever be able to forgive you. Now, if you are putting yourself in a situation where as though it's costly, and I'm talking about costly, like people around you are suffering, your spouse is suffering, your children are suffering, all because of something that you refuse to admit to, or you refuse to accept as true, or you refuse to see it for yourself. Gotta keep it up. These reasons in a relationship that fails are easy to deal with. So much is going on in the world today, man. There's no reason for you not to be honest, because all will come to light. I mean, social media is not kind at all. And as much as y'all like to go on social media, trust me, you get exposed. You get exposed. But yeah, with that one, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to bid you adieu. Like, share, comment, hit my YouTube, like, share, and subscribe, and support it, bro. I'm going to get better with this. But I got a lot that I want to share. I got 53 years of education and understanding of life on life terms. I've lived it. And it's not a game. So with that, my dear brothers and sisters, I salute. Peace out. Have a blessed evening.